This is the Shotgun City Sheriff, the law himself, Clayton Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Kennedy, a.k.a. Mr. Anderson.
This is the Young Titan, Aaron Atlas.
Hey, this is Matt Brannigan.
This is the Warbound Hellhound, Bo Sword.
This is your favorite drunken pro wrestler, a.k.a. the Bud Light Brawler, Dalton Davis.
This is Lizzie Six.
This is Jake Something.
And this is the jaw-jacking, back-cracking, God created all men equal, and then he made me the sequel, Rohit Raju, and you are listening to the Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast. Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast. Hell yeah.
The Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast? Yeah, that's right, I stuttered. Shut up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spot Show Podcast, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. I, of course, am one of your hosts, the Dr. Seuss of the commentary booth, Dickie Wabash, and joining me, as always, the one-legged wonder, Michael Madrox.
Wait, I'm back already?
Okay, listen. Here's the thing. We have a lot to catch all of you up on, but let me just definitively say it right now. Spot Show is back, baby.
Oh, Dickie. It's been too long.
It feels like it has been a year.
It feels longer than a year for me.
Even though it has only been, like, what, a couple of months?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's nuts. We are going to fill all of you in on what exactly has been going on, both personally, professionally, and how a few curveballs have been thrown our way. Actually, the curveballs that have been thrown have been pretty solid, actually.
They have.
Because that's why you're here now.
Back already.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
I didn't either. I thought it was going to be going for a long time.
But we're going to get into that because first I just want to remind you that this is, of course, the Spot Show Podcast each and every other week. I got to get used to that now because we are going back to every other week for a bit. We have news on that we'll get to. Every other week, Michael Madrox and myself get together and talk about this wacky world of independent wrestling through our eyes. Ooh, probably shouldn't be making any eye references.
I still got an eye.
Hey, it is what it is. But yeah, we get together on here and we talk about the wide, wacky, crazy world of independent wrestling. And if you like what we're doing here, you can, of course, head on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Back us at the $5 and above tier, and you're going to hear this show early and ad-free every other week before it goes live. And that's the thing about the Patreon, We've been lacking on content, and we've got plenty of news about that coming through with this podcast. This is pretty much going to be a State of MadBash Studios address, I think is what that this is going to be.
Are we allowed to do that?
Who
elected us?
Who's going to tell us no? We run this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We run this company. And of course, we got some plug skis and upcoming dates for you. November 16th, EPW presents Boss Fight. We are going to be there. Michael Madrox will not be in the commentary booth, but ya boy, Dickie Wabash, is going to be in the commentary booth. That is, of course, going to be in Washington, Indiana, coming up here November 16th. And then November 30th, MadBash Studios is going to be in the house at Hybrid Championship Wrestling. Dickie Wabash is going to be in the commentary booth with our good friends over at the Diner Podcast. The Dine and Bash commentary booth is going to be in full effect. Michael Madrox will, of course, be there taking care of the gimmick table. Swing by, say hello, give your best wishes.
Pick up a Venom.
Oh, speaking of that, of course, this podcast is brought to you by Venom Energy and Elite Pro Wrestling, but you're going to hear a little bit more about them later because we have got a lot to cover.
We have a lot to cover, and I'm coming straight out the gate, brother.
Straight out the gate?
Straight out the gate.
I was going to ask, what is the best way to do this? Do we do...
You got to address the elephant in the room first. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and just put it out there.
Okay.
I'm dropping Rhea Ripley and picking up Roman Reigns.
Okay, well, that's the funny thing that you should say that, because that is one thing that we are going to be addressing, is that is now null and void.
No.
No, it's
No. We're bringing it back.
Nah, we'll start it again next year.
Ah, you're killing me.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
Someone named Brian is very upset with you right now.
You were going to win regardless. Let's just admit it. You were going to win.
Yeah, but how bad would that beating have been?
I mean, only time would have told, I guess. But, I mean, we'll see. We can get more into that here as we continue the conversation, but I think there is definitely a lot that needs to be addressed. And I don't know. I mean, this is really not only your story to tell, because it absolutely is, but it's also my story to tell in terms of like what's going to be happening with the company, what is going to be going on, what has been going on. But then it's your story in the sense of like what's been going on personally and all that other stuff. But I think that we begin it just by simply saying that we're back.
And better than ever.
We're going to try to be better than ever. I will say this. We did not expect to be back this soon.
No.
Like this. The Spot Show podcast, I recently was just on the Jumping the Rail podcast, and I made the announcement that Spot Show was going to be coming back in November. But to what capacity? Did not know. We just knew it was going to be back. We can get more into that later, because I honestly think that we do lay this out as a timeline of events. And I think that we do it in a way of where we both just kind of jump in, because there was a lot going on at once. And it would feel weird to just tell one side of it and then double back
and to tell the other
and
side.
tell the other side of it, because a lot of it,
I guess you could say that would be 2020.
Oh, already making vision jokes, brother. So let's just start with this. Let's start with the Shank Barzini podcast.
Yes.
Which was hosted by me and Dalton Davis. Now, everyone knows that you were not here for that podcast because of scheduling issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to address this. We were not trying to hide anything. You really could not make it because of scheduling issues.
Yes.
And then all of this other stuff comes up with your health, and then you had to take an extended leave of absence. Not as extended as we thought it was going to be. But yeah. So it's just it's weird how everything kind of played out in that aspect of it. And that episode went up at the end of August. So you're talking August, September, October, but basically 2.5 months. Let's give it 2.5.
Let's call it that.
Yeah. So now immediately after that was the Dickie Wabash one-man show, which at that point is when things really kind of started to kind of take a turn. So I want to turn it over to you. Let's start with around the end of August, beginning of September.
All right. So one day randomly, I just woke up with a migraine from hell. Like the worst migraine you could ever imagine. I didn't think anything of it. Put it off, because let's be honest, I put a lot of shit off.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather put it off and get what I have to do done and work on future things and focus on the future instead of what's going on right now, which
yes,
I need to stop doing.
Yeah, you do.
But the migraine just progressed and got worse and worse and worse. And then my eyes started burning, and I thought I had pink eye. I was like, all right, I'll just go to the hospital and get some medication. I went to a local convenient care, and they told me it'd be okay. Just wait a couple days.
Mm-hmm. So
I waited a couple days, no improvement. And then I started just constantly throwing up everything.
And meanwhile, by the way, we probably should have said this before, because we always forget to say this. Listener discretion is kind of going to be advised because we're going to kind of get into the weeds here with like what exactly you were going through.
Oh yeah,
because
there's blood, guts, and gore.
It's pretty graphic what you went through, but I mean, it's like there's no way to talk about it without like talking about the fact that like I'm looking at you right now and your eye is bloodshot red, and it's not just colored bloodshot red; it legitimately is
no contacts, baby.
Bloodshot red because there is blood in your eye.
Yes,
but I'm burying the lead a little bit here.
So I made an appointment with my family doctor. Went there, and she checked my eyes, and she's like, there's a lot of blood in your eye. I'm going to have to send you to the local hospital as soon as you leave here. And I was like, all right, damn. So
real quick, because we're both just going to kind of jump in here.
This one.
While all this is happening, there were already discussions behind the scenes of what do we do to keep things going.
Yeah.
And before this,
because I was like, I can't do the podcast this week. I was like, there's no absolute damn way. I was like, I can't keep anything down.
And thank God for Dalton.
Yes.
The true unsung hero of this time period. So during this, you had already silently taken a step back from MadBash Wrestling.
Yes.
Madrox is not in charge of MadBash Wrestling anymore.
Nope.
I am running MadBash Wrestling with a couple other people that wish to remain
anonymous.
So you had already taken some of your responsibility off well before any of this started to pop up. Well before.
Yeah. And then I'll jump right back into it. I went to the hospital and they found the pressure in my eye was at a 35 at the time.
Now, what's the unit of measure here? PSI? I don't think it's PSI.
I have no idea, dude. I just know they take this little thing and stab you in the eye with it repetitively to figure out the pressure. But
now that's pressure.
A normal eye should be between 9 and 12.
Okay.
Mine was at a 35.
Cool.
And they're like, well, we're going to have to send you to Indianapolis. You're going to need emergency surgery because you're having a hemorrhage in your eye. I'm like, cool. So from the doctor's office to one hospital to a 2.5-hour drive to another hospital, I get there and they're like, no, it's just glaucoma. You'll be okay. Go home.
Diabetic glaucoma.
Yeah, diabetic glaucoma because I'm a diabetic, and that's the first thing they wrote off.
Yeah. So meanwhile, you're still talking of like, I'll be back, man. I'll be back. I'll be back. Things will be ready to roll.
Yep. And nothing got better.
It got worse.
Yeah. Like,
because here's the thing. I was by your side through all of this. I was literally showing up at your apartment being like, you're getting in my fucking car. I'm taking you to the ER. And because like, we're going to get into the weeds a lot. Because like I told you, after your scare last year, which we went into detail on the podcast and all that, I told you, I was like, we're not going to have this shit happen anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to parent you basically and be like, no, you got to get your shit fucking taken care of. And here's the bitch of this whole situation is that right before all of this was going on, you had started taking steps to better yourself.
This is why I don't go to damn doctors. They all try to kill me.
Yeah.
But
not really, but yeah.
No, so they sent me home and told me just to make a follow-up with this eye specialist. And I go see the eye specialist, I think, a week later. And he meets me and we're going over everything. And he's like, no, you're actively having aneurysms in your eye. He's like, your eye's growing extra blood vessels and they keep popping. He goes, we need to get control of this. I'm like, all right, so what do we do? He's like, we're going to start you on injections in your eye.
Wonderful.
You ever get anything in your eye, Dickie Wabash?
Oh, terrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Like an eyelash or something. So as soon as he said injections in the eyes, I'm like, that's going to suck ass. But luckily, there's no filling in your eye. It's just when the needle goes in, it sounds like a grape being popped inside your skull, which is a lovely feeling. So they started the injections and everything to get my pressure down because my eye was at the point where if I bent over wrong, if I got hit in the face with a wind gust, Or if I was in the shower and looked at the faucet, my eye could rupture and pop.
Because there was just so much pressure built
Yeah.
up.
And so I saw another eye specialist he referred me to, and then they scheduled a surgery for me. But they had to wait until I had so many injections in my eye to try to relieve the pressure, because if they wouldn't do the surgery, my eye would have popped. And the day of surgery, which was October 28th.
Which, let's back up a little bit here.
Yes.
You knew that things were kind of going south.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of felt it too. So I do the podcast with Dalton and Mackay, the referee. And then there was just some scheduling issues. We couldn't get together for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And couldn't do anything, couldn't do any content. And it wasn't anything, it was just schedules.
Yeah.
You know, it's called people having fucking schedules and having a real fucking life. And we just weren't fucking able to get together and do anything. And so then about this time, I'm starting to, because I'm still waiting on you. You're just like, I'll be back. So then we have one of the hardest conversations that I've ever had to have in my adult life.
And the day I stepped down.
And little did I know that you were already kind of thinking this. So let's go into this now before we get into your surgery, because this is all pre-surgery.
Yes.
So I'm kind of sitting back and I'm thinking, man, we've got backers on Patreon. We've got great following. We've got all this other stuff. And I feel like we're shortchanging them because
By just waiting around.
So I call you because I was still talking to you very frequently, just like getting updates and, you know, shit like that. So I call you and I'm like, all right, man, I got something to tell you. And you were like, what's that? And I was like, I think that you need to take a step back from MadBash until you're better. And you're like, what do you mean? I was like, I think that you need to not concern yourself with what this company is doing anymore. I think that just let me handle it. I got it. I've got everyone around. And we had this conversation a week before we made the announcement.
Oh, yeah.
And I was scared to have that conversation with you because I didn't want you to take it as like I was trying to out you from this thing that you created.
But little did Dickie Wabash know I already planned on this.
You had already planned on calling me and being like, I'm taking a step back. And I was like, fuck.
Let's just throw it out there, though, in the middle of this. The reason I wanted to take a step back, they didn't know if I was going to make it through the surgery.
Yeah, there was very big risk with this surgery. Like, there was a chance of, like, triggering seizures and, like, triggering all this other shit. Like
full-on brain aneurysm.
Yeah. And
I chose my family and spend the time that I knew I could with them over MadBash.
And absolutely you should. Absolutely you should. And, you know, we had the conversation and it was a very hard conversation. I know you and I were both in tears. And then fast forward a week later, we make the public statement of like, hey, he's taking a step back. He's not concerned with any of this.
Just throwing it out there, the most viewed statement of MadBash.
Oh my God. So I actually, you and I, and we said it on the post, we were like, we both have agreed to this. Like, this isn't me doing this, but let's be real here for a minute. You and I actually had an argument because you were still trying to run shit. And like,
I was not trying to run shit. I just have good ideas, okay?
But I had to tell you fucking stop. And then we've not addressed this. Like, we've not talked about this, about how much you actually did piss me off because you said, I just took a step back from the public eye. And I said, no. I said, you are done.
Let's give some people ideas here. The public announcement happened at a certain time, right?
Yeah.
Not even 5 minutes later, I'm in our group chat giving ideas and new concepts and everything else.
The whole point of this is like, dude, you don't have to concern yourself with whatever the fuck we got going on. You do you. Worry about your fucking health. Worry about your fucking children. Worry about all this other shit. Like, don't fucking worry. It's like, I was even to the point of where I'm not even telling you stuff that's being discussed because I don't want to fucking concern you with it. But you have no idea how much you fucking pissed me off when you were like, because it was so fucking hard to even do it. And then you're like, oh, it's just a fucking word. It's like, no, like this is fucking real. Like this really happened. You are done. You are done. And by the way, the sirens on our end, if you hear them.
You just need to get an audio clip and just drop that in with the stroke of a button every time.
Yeah. I don't know why the sirens are on our end. That's hard to say. That's hard to say. I haven't said it in so long. So we went into this announcement with, you know, that's me knocking wood. If you go, things are covered. We went into it with the full intention. Obviously, we didn't want anything bad to happen to you.
Absolutely.
And we knew you would be back.
But we covered X, Y, through Z like you should with a company.
Yes. And we knew that you would be back at some point, and we knew that content would be back at some point, just without you. So my inbox was flooded with people being like, hey, if you need me to fill in, you know, blah, blah, blah. And
which I greatly appreciate.
Yes.
Greatly appreciate.
There's too many for me to actually shout out specifically. But you know,
they know who they are.
They know who they are. And we'll give a few shout outs towards the end of this.
There's people not even in the wrestling business that stepped up and said, hey,
yeah,
we'll help anything you can for Dustin and Dickie and everybody else over there.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And so, I knew that content was going to be back, and I knew that it was going to be back now, but I didn't think that it was going to be back how it is now. Because, full disclosure, we knew that it was going to be a long healing process.
Oh, yeah.
You knew it was going to be a long healing process.
They told me 6 months at first for recovery.
So we were planning 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, I said the earliest, let's get you back in March. And you said, okay. I said, we'll have you back in March for EPW. And March is always an important month for us anyway, because that's when we first held Ascend the Throne.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we did all this other stuff. So we make the announcement, and again, full intention of continuing to go full steam ahead without you. And I tried, like I still did what I could. And I know that I can do it by myself, like with all this other stuff, but then and this is not about me. This is not about me anyway, but it's just like major seasonal depression hit. And I'm worried about my best friend, and I've got other stuff going on, and I've got just multiple things going on that I really don't want to get into. It's not bad. It's just, you know, but the big one is like
shit just stacked up.
It was just a shit storm that perfectly added up, and it could not have happened at the worst time. Like, I just lost all motivation. I knew in the back of my head, I was like, fuck, I gotta get something out, but it's like really hard right now. I have no motivation, yada, yada. So then let's go now to your surgery. So we've made the announcement. You are gone. Here's a fun thing I want to plug in. The first official MadBash thing without you involved was the MadBash Wrestling and the Hybrid Wrestling show in West Terre Haute.
Yeah.
And it went off really well. It was my coming out party of like, this is Dickie Wabash's MadBash. This isn't Dickie Wabash and Michael Madrox's. This isn't Josh Thomas and Dustin Flowers' MadBash. This is Josh Thomas's MadBash.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do. Went great. Incredible matches. For some reason, the cord on the mic of my camera is defective. And didn't realize it. So the matches that were there were completely static. There is no audio for those matches. And those matches...
This is why I couldn't leave.
And those matches were going to be used for something that is going to be a future project down the road that essentially now we can't use them. But I mean, the good news is that I can still use them for highlight videos and whatnot, because, you know, I do make a good highlight video. So that went great outside of no audio. So that was like the week 2 weeks before. When was that? When was that party? The
first week of October.
The first week of October, yeah. So we had just made the announcement.
Yeah.
And then we go into Elite Pro Wrestling, and even before that, we had our All Vermilion Wrestling booking, and Dalton Davis
stepped back up again.
Stepped up and did commentary with me that night. And then Dalton was going to do commentary with me in October in Odin for EPW, but he couldn't because he just couldn't. So then Brian Parker steps up and does commentary with me at EPW All Hallows Eve, which I want to, in the back half of this podcast, we also want to talk about all of the things that happened while you were gone.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot that really, really happened. But you know, who'd you ever beat? You know, that's all I got to say. But
a lot.
So now it's time for the surgery.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 days, because you had it on a Monday?
Had it Monday morning.
Monday morning. So it was 2 days after All Hallows Eve.
Yes.
So, and I don't expect you to get into like the full details of the surgery or anything.
I just want to say, how many people you know can sit through a surgery awake with no pain medications?
Yikes.
They couldn't get me numb, and they needed me awake for the surgery.
Fuck you, dude.
Because it was in my eye, so they went in and put a little portal in the top of my eye and then a drain tube to drain some of the blood to cause the pressure, because there was 80% blood in my eye instead of water.
Yeah.
And surgery did not get off to a good start. After 6 injections, they still couldn't get me numb. They were going to cancel the surgery, and I was like, you shot me in the face 6 times. I was like, let's just get through it.
Who am I, 50 Cent?
Yeah. It's like, let's just go through it. The doctor's like, are you sure about this? And I'm like, yeah. And then about a half hour into it, nurses started crying and stuff because I was like white knuckling the side of the where they had my arms strapped down and shit. But you know what? I do it all over again, because as soon as I got off that operating table, the migraines were gone. Everything felt so much better, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Sums it up.
So then Monday, you have the surgery. The following Tuesday, I'm on Jumping the Rail.
Yes.
And here's where I knew that was going to be a rough interview, possibly, is because it's like, oof, that's the day after Madrox's surgery.
This is going to be a memorial.
What could happen? Anything could happen. Shout out to fucking Jumping the Rail, man. Great,
absolutely,
great product they have over there.
Can't wait to have them on here with us.
Yeah, we're gonna have them on here. I really thought that we had our shit figured out, and then I went on Jumping the Rail, and I was like, one of the best podcast interviews I've ever been a part of as a guest.
One of the best podcast interviews I've watched.
Yeah. It was really good. They definitely have their shit together, and they have their stuff really figured out. They have a Patreon as well. I want to give them a shout out. If you go to our MadBash Patreon, we have them in our recommended accounts section. So yeah, shout out to them. They're and specifically, I mean, they're both incredible, but Minder specifically, every time I would see her, which was a handful of times, she would always ask how you were. Always ask how you were. So when's Madrox going to be back? So when's Madrox going to be? And so shout out to her for that.
People actually like me. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I got to remember too. Reb needs that shirt too. Yeah, he said specifically we had to sit one back for him. So we'll definitely go ahead and do that.
I'm selling my damn shirt, Dickie Wabash.
Well, so that interview was incredible. It was a lot of fun. Then I get a phone call from you.
Did you expect me to chime in on the interview?
I knew you would watch. I mean, I knew you would be there watching, and I knew you would probably jump into chat for a little bit, but no. So then I get a phone call from you, and we're just kind of talking about the interview, and then you spring some information on me that I definitely was not expecting, that we are going to dive more into after we hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. We all love live entertainment, right? We all love live wrestling, right? Well, what if I told you that there is a place that combines the entertainment and the wrestling live that we all love? Look no further than Elite Pro Wrestling. Whether it's in person in Odin, Indiana, or Washington, Indiana, or if you check them out on YouTube, Elite Pro Wrestling guarantees a quality show that allows them to live up to the name Elite. If you're feeling generous, go ahead and check them out on Patreon as well. If you back them, you're going to get early access to all of their shows before they hit YouTube. Again, check out EliteProfessionalWrestling.com. This episode is brought to you by Venom Energy. Hey, we've all been there, and there's nothing wrong with admitting to it. Well, what I mean is that we've all hit that midday slump, and we all need a little push to get us through the rest of the day. Well, what better option to give you a pick-me-up than one of the wonderful flavors of Venom Energy? Venom is what gets MadBash through those long show days, and we know that it can do the same for you. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit for you, too. Yeah, come to our merch table when you see us at a show, and with the purchase of a MadBash Wrestling sticker or magnet, you get a Venom Energy drink on us. While supplies last, of course, so you better act quick. We'd like to thank Venom again for sponsoring this episode. Please consume responsibly. Not recommended for children under 18, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine. Podcast interview with Jumping the Rail. Went incredible. Had a great time. It was yet again another Dickie is doing this on his own. So this is now time to talk about the new Dickie Wabash.
Now, hold on, dude. I had to get in that group chat or the live chat and actually promote MadBash for you on some shit.
There was one thing I did forget to plug. I do remember that.
T-shirts.
Yeah. So
Sanitarium. We'll just let all that shit slide, Dickie.
We haven't even had a chance to talk about the fucking sanatorium video. No. Fuck, there is so much that we got to cover, my guy. So
3-hour episode right here, baby.
Oh my God. So I know what the back half of this podski is going to be. So, and plus we can stuff to talk about on Paid Show as well. Yeah, Paid Show's back. Paid Show will be coming back as well. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. We got content.
MadBash boys.
Content, Maddie. So, you call me after Jumping the Rail and tell me the news.
Yeah, because I got on my doctor's appointment when the interview started, and I caught the back half of it. But doctor said everything looked great, everything went well. I'm a true badass, and he only gave me 5 weeks of restrictions.
Why? Yeah, 5 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5 days.
Yeah, you said weeks. I was like, wait a minute.
5 days of restrictions compared to 6 months. That's a fucking win, brother.
So you call me, you tell me this, and I'm like...
And I get hung up on so he can call his mom. Let's be honest.
No, my mom, Mama Wabash has definitely been one that's been following the saga of you and like wanting to know what's been going on.
She gave me the biggest hug on Halloween.
Yeah, she kept talking about how she saw you. But so immediately I say, that's great, blah, blah, blah. But then business Dickie kicks in instantly. And I'm like, so what's that mean for us? And then you said, I'm fucking back. And I said, no, like seriously, like we truly...
I could hear Dickie Wabash smacking his couch on the other end of the phone with excitement.
Yeah, it's like that scene in fucking Goodfellas. The Jimmy! When he's banging on the side of the shower. The son of a bitch did it! But, so, I mean, obviously that wasn't immediately. I was just like, oh my God, because obviously I want to be sure that, like, you're not just rushing and you're like, no, like, because I know how hard you were.
Let's rephrase that. I'm back at MadBash full time. I'm still taking the rest of the year
Yes.
off from bookings and shit like that. Yeah.
We're going to get into that. Like, you're back in your role as executive producer at MadBash Studios, which we did not think that you would be back.
No.
At least for a while.
Yes.
A very long while.
Because they were talking about me not being in cars, not being in direct sunlight, all kinds of shit after this surgery.
Yeah. And it was even going to be one of those things of like, we'll just take the podcast equipment over here and we'll record at my house. I was like, no, because I don't want you to have to worry about that. That was the whole point of you stepping back. And you agreed. Like, we've been making light of it, but let's call it what it was. Like, it was a hard pill to swallow, but even you accepted, like, yeah, I'm done for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a good way to put it now, is that when it comes to MadBash content such as Spot Show, such as Patreon content, any audio,
MadBash Film, shit like that.
MadBash Films back making decisions, you are back.
Yes.
You are back.
100%.
But like we said, you are not accepting bookings.
No, because I'm not trying to rush it and do anything extra out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Just for house standards and
because you don't want to
for peace of mind, honestly, because this little break from the pro wrestling world has been wonderful.
Isn't it great?
You have no idea, dude.
I envy you.
Let's get you deathly sick and you can take a couple months off.
I don't want to do that. But so instantly the gears start turning. And, you know, here's the thing about a partnership that I think is kind of obvious. What I'm about to say here. And I want to preface this by saying that I'm not complaining. Partnerships are hard because we got to agree before something gets done. So I was just doing shit. Like, I was just doing shit. Like, I was doing this and doing that. And it wasn't anything crazy, but it was just like, man, it feels good to have the weight of a partnership off of my shoulders. And not saying that you're a weight or a burden. That's not
because
what I'm saying.
let's be honest here. Like, most of our partnership is just both of us always on the same page.
And we always agree. Like, I think there's maybe been one or two things that we have not agreed on. And that'd be hard to really think about what those are, but I'm sure they're there. So then we get back into it, and so here's what was going to happen. This is what was going to happen. Spot Show was going to be back either today or next week. And the guest was probably going to be Clayton. We had already scheduled it. We had already planned it. It was going to be me and Clayton. And then, of course, Dalton is always around. And then we were going to try to we had all this other stuff in mind. And that's a good segue into where do we go from here? So
I have an idea where we go from here.
Where do we go from here?
I think we should celebrate because we just had the election for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, you had to bring it up.
I'm just saying. I'm not getting political here.
Please don't.
Slightly. The year 2005. I think next 2 weeks episode.
Well, you do realize you said. Did you mean to say 2025 or 2005?
2005.
Oh no.
Hear me out, brother.
Okay.
We celebrate the election with one of the biggest elections of all time.
Okay.
We review WWE's Taboo Tuesday.
Oh my God. Is this what it's like?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I fucking hate it. Oh my God. Okay, I'm down.
That's not a bad one, brother.
So the first Taboo Tuesday?
The first Taboo Tuesday.
So next in 2 weeks we're gonna have a review of Taboo Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Let's
to celebrate.
fucking go.
Celebrate the election.
Let's fucking
and to
go.
celebrate the Spot Show coming back.
The show that we're back, man. What better way than to do a review episode?
The only thing I remember from that is Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Shelton Benjamin, he recently kicked someone in the face that was sitting on that couch. So
I wonder who that could have
I
been.
don't know. You know,
But it's a security guard.
no, it's probably some security guard. Yeah, some young Titan. So he
was
really
a boy once.
really burned himself out on that. So Aaron Atlas. So yeah. Well, there's that. So yeah, that's actually a good way to do it, is that for the foreseeable future, and we don't know when, Spot Show is going to be going back to every other week.
Yes.
Which is how we started. Because
holidays are coming up.
Holidays are coming up. It's been a rough go.
We don't want to oversaturate it.
We've been trying to get our footing. We've been trying to get things back up and running. And we will be there. Let me take a minute as well to thank everyone who has stuck with us, especially on the Patreon.
Yes.
Because you have not been getting the content that you are promised. And we feel very bad for that. But with that being said, we're probably going to be done with this. Then we're going to do paid show. And then we'll probably do a couple other things that you've come to expect on the Patreon.
Absolutely.
You know, Untitled Wrestling Commentary Show. It's probably going to happen. So,
it's not even including the big surprises.
Yeah, which we're not going to really get into that.
No.
Paid show will be back, of course, and it will be coming every other week on the same release schedule as Spot Show.
Yes.
And for other Patreon content, we were just a smidgen away from bringing back Big Stupid Popcorn. We were about to do it.
We were going to record it the day before I got hospitalized.
And then we couldn't. Big Stupid Popcorn is back.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know when, but it's soon.
You get a special guest on the next one, don't you?
Yes, because he was promised the spot when I didn't think that you were going to be back. So Brian Parker and myself will be watching a movie on Big Stupid Popcorn, the movie to be decided. Be expecting that on the $10 tier of Patreon. Also, there was a very big shakeup in the world of MadBash Wrestling while you were gone that we need to talk about.
Moo.
Colby Jack is your new reigning and defending MadBash Wrestling champion.
That does not seem fair.
Why do you say that?
Because he goes moo. No,
Hey,
you got to give Colby Jack credit, man. He came out of the woodwork. And this whole new persona, new attitude, Mad Cow, wow.
Yeah, I was very proud of him in that aspect of it. That Mad Cow is really going to be something that you're really going to want to pay attention to.
I thought Chris Cutler, I love Colby to death, one of our best friends. I thought Chris Cutler was going to conquer him until I saw what Chris Cutler woken up in Colby Jack.
Yeah, and you know, we talked a little bit about the origins of the Mad Cow on Jumping the Rail. So if you want to hear a little bit about that, you can give but really giving you guys big plugs here today, man.
Oh, yeah.
I expect huge Menders. I know you're going to hear this. I expect at least 3 MadBash Studios shout outs on the next Jumping the Rail. Damn it. No, all the love in the world to those guys.
We got to send them a banner to hang up behind them.
Yeah. So, yeah, that happened. And here's the thing. The end of the year, the last few months of the year are very sparse for wrestling shows. They just are. So we don't know when or if Colby is going to get to defend the MadBash title this year. We are definitely trying, but I've got an exclusive announcement right now.
Oh, is it for January?
Okay, you should have tried to. You just buried the lead.
I'm just saying, is it for January?
You don't know how to. God damn it! I hate that you're back. So, January 16th, 2025, Colby Jack or whoever, because you never know, there's going to be a MadBash Wrestling Championship title defense taking place at Elite Pro Wrestling E-Day.
E-Day?
Yeah. Is going to be against, making his MadBash Wrestling debut, the investment Avery Hertz is stepping up and challenging for the MadBash Wrestling Championship. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Avery is someone that I've wanted to work with for a very long time. Fun fact, when the Envision Fair and Square 3 happened, Avery was going to be in that spot, but then we couldn't make it happen, so Silva ended up being in that spot.
Yes.
So, yeah, Avery, welcome to MadBash Wrestling.
Nothing but respect for Avery Hertz.
Our brand, I'm going to share an Avery Hertz story with you right now. This is why I fuck with Avery Hertz. This is why Avery Hertz is always going to have, I'm always going to like have a place with me. And I haven't really had a chance to talk about this, but a couple hybrid shows ago, shout out to Logan Madrox. He had never reffed a tag team match ever.
He ended up 2.
And ended up with 2. Of all the people, 8 guys that were in these different tag matches, not trying to discredit the other 7, because they gave him the fair pointers, but one of them truly pulled him to the side and really talked to him and gave him pointers, and that was Avery Hertz. And that, as the fact that Logan is my young boy, that he's my green kid, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah. We're like the Grinch, our respect grew for him 4 times that day.
So by that happening, I think that it's, that to me, that's paying it forward.
It's paying it forward? Is that a motto for something?
And what better way to show and to reward paying it forward than to give a MadBash Wrestling Championship opportunity? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So we've got that lined up. Also,
there's more?
Oh, there's always more.
Oh, man. It's like we've been cooking.
I am here to announce for the first time, this is the first time this has publicly been said. By the end of this month, you know what? Let me look at a calendar here because I'm trying to figure out, does Spot Show fall on a Thanksgiving? Boom, boom, it doesn't.
That's the first time ever.
Yeah, well, we've only been around for 2 years. Thanksgiving of 2024. I need all of you to be on the lookout.
What are we looking out for, Dickie Wabash?
Brother, the first ever MadBash Studios initiate.
Initiate?
Yeah. We've got so much in the works. We've got so much that is going to be happening that we can't just say, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. We are going to have a full-fledged presentation showing you what exactly we've got coming down the pipeline.
So you mean to tell me these people not only can hear about it, but they can see it as well?
We're going to have a full-blown presentation because there is some incredible stuff coming to MadBash Studios, wrestling, films, Mischievous Rabbit, that everyone is going to want to see.
Oh, I hope they stuck around for this long in the podcast to hear that.
Oh, they absolutely did because we are milking you and your health as we always do.
Yay,
What else we got here? So, yeah, just to kind of summarize it and put a bow on it, Madrox is back much sooner than we expected.
You're welcome.
These other projects that we're about to announce, they've been in the works, but they've been kind of put a little hold on them since, the whole health thing has been going on. And it's now time to unveil it and have this coming out party of like, here's all this stuff that's going to be coming to MadBash Studios that you can look forward to. I can think of off the top of my head. Let me think here. 4 announcements that are going to be made on that,
maybe even more
presentation. Well, don't tease them because I really don't think there is. I think there's only going to be 4 announcements. I think there's only 4 announcements.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
We're going to WrestleMania.
No. yeah. To like, jinx that again. So, another thing too that I kind of want to clear the air on is that, we canceled enough of this. That had nothing to do with your health.
No.
Like that just was a scheduling thing. It became impossible for us to like really fucking work on that. And, so there that is.
There was an extra 4 hours post recording and then pre-watching.
Yeah, so there's definitely that. But I just need to remember to do it. Enough of this is like gone now. Like it's the RSS feed is like gone. But if you go over to the Patreon, I'm going to make all of the episodes free so that you can still listen to them. You just have to have a free membership in order to.
Who knows? If we get enough feedback on the Patreon, we might bring it back and finish the season.
Probably not, because boy, did that podcast go over like a fucking wet fart.
It was so hard with the TikTok viewing, brother.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we got cooking, man. I mean, we are back, and it's scary because, I mean, it was a scary time period in general. Like, I mean, we're not just talking about like the death of a company, but we're talking about like the death of a human possibly. And,
what's that saying about me, brother?
Oh, you cannot kill Michael Madrox.
Unless it's like a hangnail or something, that's gonna be the way I go out.
Dude, don't even put that in there.
I'm just saying.
Don't even put that out there. Don't even put that out there. So I don't know, man. Ball's in your court. What do you want to talk ski?
I'm really excited for what we got coming up. I'm really excited for this review I threw on you.
Yeah.
At least it's not WCW.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of WCW, Clayton and I were watching a bunch of like hardcore ECW matches. I talked about this again on Jumping the Rail. It was the first time a microphone had been in front of my face and I was able to talk about what's been going on in my life. But, dude, there is some incredible stuff, especially with hardcore Terry Funk, like from that time period. So great. Screaming Norman Smiley.
We need to find a lot of like old independent like B footage that people haven't seen and do something with it.
I mean, we kind of did that with Element OP.
I know, but we need to bring it back.
Yeah. Element OP is not on my radar right now, but I could see it being on my radar.
Element OP is on my radar because I have a hour-long backyard wrestling VHS sitting at the house.
Oh.
That features a young, full of head hair Dickie Wabash and a fat little Michael Madrox.
Long before he was Dickie Wabash. Long before that name was even conceived. I don't know, man. I think that, it's been a pretty hectic time lately. But I do think that overall, it's great to be back. I know you feel like it's great to be back.
I'm always happy with a microphone in front of me.
But, we couldn't have done this on our own. So I think we got a few shout outs that we want to give and just a few thank yous. So let's start with you because you probably have more than me.
Who am I thinking? Everyone that's helped us with the podcast or helped me in my life, or what are we doing
Whoever
here?
you want to fucking thank, dude. I don't know. Jesus Christ, you need me to hold your fucking hand?
Hold my hand while I thank you.
Okay.
I want to thank Dickie Wabash, even though his palms are sweaty.
Knees weak, arms are heavy. My palms are not.
There's vomit on a sweater already.
On his cardigan already.
For real, I want to thank you. I want to thank Dalton. I want to thank Oliver. I want to thank Clayton. I want to thank Colby. I want to thank Cutler. I want to thank everybody. Silva. I want to thank everybody behind the curtains of MadBash that stepped up to the plate and volunteered their time, service, and effort to keep this thing going. I want to thank my family. I want to thank my friends for being there, supporting me. And most of all, I want to thank my kids for keeping me going.
Yeah. That's the big one right there.
Yeah.
And I know that that's like your big motivating factor is, your three boys. And, I know that Logan is, of course, now in the wrestling business, of course, as a referee. And I know he's been itching to get back at it. And I even told you, I was like, dude, even though you're taking a break, like Logan still has a spot in my carload. But someone decided that they didn't want to take school too seriously. So he is currently on academic probation from MadBash.
Yes.
Hopefully he'll be back on 16th. But yeah, I know that's the big one. That's the big one. A lot of my thank yous are pretty much
Me.
along the same lines. Shut up. Are along the same lines. I mean, I just know that we always hear that, like, oh, we have so many supporters and we have so many, blah, blah. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure we do. And then you see it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
And then your inbox gets flooded with, hey, while Madrox is gone, I can step up. Or do you need anything? Or do you need this? Like, there's a couple of people that I'm not, there's one in particular I'm not going to, because she's a civilian, so I don't want to put her name out there or whatever. But, you know, she really stepped up as because it's very obvious that Michael Madrox has always been my moral support. But how can Michael Madrox be my moral support when he's in the condition that he's in?
I still had to do it for you.
A couple of times, not as much though. So I want to give a big shout out to her. She is an incredible person, incredible friend. I value her very much so. And before rumors start circulating, because I'm saying no, it's just a friend. Dickie Wabash is still very much single.
So, ladies, if you want to change that, we have open invitations available at MadBashStudios.com.
You know, here is a thing that I've really thought about with this, is that it's like, hypothetically, a significant other that's not in the business, like, I'm going to have a talk with them and be like, hey, I talk about my life a lot in a microphone, and the public digests that. You cool with that?
They're going to be like, red flag number 4.
Dude, a beige flag, brother. I got my shit together. Beige flag. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that we really want to talk about, and we'll definitely get into it on Page Show.
Page Show's going to be a good one.
Page Show's going to be a very fun one because, I know that we try to not make Page Show just a venting session, but there's a couple of things that Dickie's got on his mind that he really wants to get out. Plus, I really want to talk about this Indiana State Sanatorium video, stuff like that, which we've talked a little bit about it, but not a lot. Yeah, we may even drop an exclusive announcement on what's going to be seen in this and initiate.
I think we should.
Yeah, we'll probably give them one. We'll give them one. We'll give them one.
One out of the 5.
And you're going to try it at 4. And you're going to try to talk me into doing more. But bruv. We got to wait for that presentation coming up on Thanksgiving. But yeah, now let's get modeling. Let's get a little fucking heavy-handed here. It is incredible to have you back.
Aw.
And, you know, today was the first day in fucking 2 months or something to make that drive to go get you and to pull in and to see you fucking hobble down your sidewalk, get in the car, drive here, turn on the microphones, and record.
Yeah,
And
you forgot Taco Bell in there, brother.
we did get Taco Bell.
Taco Bell sponsor
I
us.
want to talk about the fucking decades menu because it is so good. That beef gordita supreme lives rent-free in my head, and it is the greatest thing.
You're gonna get one after recording.
The fucking world.
Ain't you?
Probably not. But here's the cool thing about it is that it's very low calorie too. And we know Dickie Wabash counts those calories. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like it feels so good to be back doing this. And I am gonna be honest with everyone right now. I don't know if I could have done it without you. Like, I really am looking at it, and I'm like, I would have just not had any motivation to even do Spot Show anymore. And, like, I was really getting to a point of, like, where maybe we hang this thing up, and maybe we just don't do this anymore. And then I really got thinking about it, and I'm like, no, because that's a slap in the face, not only to you, but to me and to everyone that's supported us this far. And I can say definitively that we're not going anywhere. Like, we've got fail safes, and, you know, I know that, like, it's probably not very reassuring to hear the person that you give money to monthly being like, sometimes I just get seasonal depression and I don't really feel motivated. But it's like, you get that shot in the arm, because I'm very much one of those people of like, once I get started, I'm fucking started. I'm rolling.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? I'm slow to go, but once I get going, bruv, I'm fucking ready.
You already video content before we even recorded today.
Dude, I'm ready to fucking hop in there because I've got a project that I need to work on right now. I'm ready to just like, come on. I wish there's not enough hours in the day right now.
I told you, let's start on the new studio today.
No, but you just spoiled that we might be working on it.
Oh.
No, we're not working on a new studio. When he says new studio, he means my basement that we have been talking about for a very long time, that we have talked about possibly making our little setup where we record, but we never really know. I'm trying to hide how mad I am at you right now for dropping that casually. But
you're the one that spoiled it. The new studio could have been anywhere.
It's not the point, you fucking idiot. You said new studio, and now people are going to expect that we're going to having a new studio.
You better get off your ass and get motivated. Let's get to work.
Fucking God. Yeah, mister, I can't lift over fucking 10 pounds. That's
You want
easy
my
for
eyeball
you
to
to
pop?
say.
You want my eyeball to pop?
Well, then maybe don't create fucking scenarios where you're going to have to just sit back and not make it fucking happen.
Just go get a case of beer and get Dalton over here. He'll
Jesus
do all the heavy lifting.
Christ. But yeah, man, it was definitely it's been a rough one, because like I was talking to someone about this, and just like, man, 2024, like there's been some highs, but it feels like there've been a lot more lows. So with that, I mean, I know that we're both ready to just take 2025 by the fucking balls and just like make it the year of MadBash. And like, I know that I measure success by, am I in a better place than I was last year? And I mean, we peaked early this year with the crowning of the MadBash champion and all that other stuff. So we were like right there. And it's just,
honestly, after all this bullshit and everything, like mentally and physically, I feel better than I have most of the year. So I think we're on the right track now, brother.
Oh, we absolutely are. And we're all on the same page. I mean, because it's not just Madrox and I mean, we've got a murderer's row of people behind us. And, you know, it's just going to be off to the fucking races. You know what I mean? And that's really all I can say about that one, man. I mean, like, it's going to be exciting. And I know that I said that I always hate it whenever our podcast turned into, here's what we got coming, here's what we got coming.
This one's needed after such a long break.
Yeah, we did need to do that little update. But, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and hop off here. For those of you on the Patreon, this is going to be an interesting paid show. You're definitely going to want to listen to it. You can, of course, find me on Instagram at DW_mischievous rabbit. You can find Michael Madrox at the word 1 and then the numbers 909-9900 on Instagram. The big one, though, MadBashStudios.com. There you'll find links to all of our other social media accounts, find links to the Patreon, all of that, whatever. And let me just say, it feels great to say what I'm about to say. So we'll see you down the road on some form of content.